First off, something that I wrote. It's an open letter to all elected officials of the United States Corporation. It's no longer a secret. Millions of Americans are aware of the following facts. First, the U.S. government incorporated as a for-profit commercial enterprise in the Legislative Act of February 21st, 1871, the 41st Congress, Session 3, Chapter 62, page 419, and chartered a federal company entitled United States, aka U.S. Inc., a commercial agency. 2. We the people are not governed by an elected government, but instead by a corporate administrative body. All elected officials are in fact corporate officials and not the people's representatives in a people's government. In the reorganization plan in 1950, the Secretary of the Treasury of Puerto Rico was appointed receiver over the bankrupt United States. The IRS was incorporated in Delaware. The IRS is not a part of the U.S. government, which is a de facto for-profit corporation to begin with. The IRS operates out of Puerto Rico. It is not registered to do business in any state. The IRS is the bookkeeping and collections arm of the Secretary of the Treasury of Puerto Rico. And the IRS collects for the IMF, or also known as the International Monetary Fund. What will it take for you, as a fellow American, to come clean and tell the truth to the entire nation? I allege that should you continue to remain silent and not take action to help restore this country to its pre-incorporated state, a de jure government, that your silence will be proof of your personal act of fraud against the people of this country. Your acquiescence will only prove that you willingly participate in the United States Corporation's masquerade and continued criminal fraud, and that you are in fact an elected corporate official representing only the corporation and its interest, and not a representative of the people of America or their interests. As God is my witness, I pray for your salvation, but only by the act of redemption, by your honesty and truthfulness, when you tell the entire nation about this fraud committed against them by the United States Corporation and all its sub-entities. Your timely response is requested and appreciated. That was pretty short and sweet and to the point, and I do allege that after having the facts very simply put in front of their face, if they remain silent, then they do so willingly, wantingly, and in total cooperation with the criminal fraud that the corporation has committed against the people of this country. I say to all persons in a corporate office, from the local county supervisors, the county sheriff, God help their soul, I hope most of them are pretty much going to be on the common law side of our Constitution, push come to shove. But setting aside any of the military, except those higher up, and the the legal officials, who I'm sure there's some that really just haven't had time working their daily jobs of a grind against trying to deal with what goes on in this world. Many of them may not have had time to actually know this, but I can guarantee you that if the minimum, everyone in one of those Washington offices sure does know. They know exactly who they are, and what they work for. And they know exactly what they're doing to the people of this country. And they know exactly the lies and the deceit that they have to fulfill every day to keep us under corporate dictatorship. So I'm calling them all liars. By their acquiescence and their silence, they agree that they're liars. They agree that they're criminal. They agree that they're so willingly an accessory to the evil slime in the total masquerade. I just can't even begin to think of enough words to describe it. It's so horrible. I can't stand that we have to even look at their faces. I'm so sick of the corporate media, and they're another one. How dare they come on with advertisements like "we tell it like it is." They're sick. They're sick, and they're in bondage. Their souls have been bound up in chains by Satan himself. I feel for them. I pray for them. I hope they will seek salvation and redemption. Let's see just one of them. Just one of them. I took my glasses off so you can see my eyes, because I'm going to look straight in this camera, and I'm going to challenge just one corporate official known as under the title of an elected representative. That makes me choke. I challenge just one of them in any state office or federal office to have the guts and the courage that many of us out here in our world that are fighting against this corporate slime. One official. Who might it be? Will there be more than one? Will any of them still be able to look inside themselves and find a heart still there? Will they find one glimmer of a shining piece of compassionate, empathetic glimmer of a spirit that God is still clinging to? Will any of them? I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to have to take that bet to the bank, because I know we'd probably fail. No, I'm going to try to be optimistic about it. If I can get this video to any of them, and I will send the link to them. I will send this letter out. And we'll see. I requested a response. Half the time, I have asked and asked and asked to get a response. But that was back a couple years ago, before I realized that I might have well been asking Bill Gates of Microsoft to answer me about something that he just didn't have time to read over. And that's Obama eligible? Yeah, he's eligible to be a CEO, president of a corporation, and that answered that question for me, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. And many of you who are questioning that eligibility, well, when you think about it, the fact that he is running a corporation as a president, not a government under our Constitution, our original Constitution, then y'all can quit worrying about that. Let's move on. Let's worry about dissolving this corporation. I know that sounds, that's not going to be an easy task, and it may never happen. But I will fight them all the way in my heart and soul. Not physically, because I'm just not a violent person. I do believe that come the time, I can't imagine, even if somebody is attacking me, I might out of reflex fight back, but I just can't imagine ever, even in defense, harming another's soul physically. You know, it's enough that through the years emotionally we do that, with sometimes without meaning to. I have no recollection of an honest official, maybe, God bless his little heart, Ron Paul, but he is only one little person in the midst of all that sewer and stench in Washington. I'm surprised he hadn't got a little stink on him, but he's managed to remain very clean. But he's still kind of playing under the guise that there's a real government up there, and the only government is the governing of the corporation. The Federal Reserve, God forgive me, but I truly hope they all burn in hell. I'm sorry. Dear Lord, please forgive me. I, on the other hand, must say a little prayer for their salvation, but somehow I just don't. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time and energy on that. They're just too big to deal with as far as their evil. They're going to have to just be handed right over to God. He's the only one that can deal with them. And many of the corporate officials sitting up there in their little offices in Washington. Many of you. And I tell you what, I could start naming some names. And I'm not ashamed to, because I'll tell you what, I would sit here right in front of them and allege what I have to say about them. And let them speak the truth. I think it might burn their tongues. But I'm not afraid to speak up. Give me 5 minutes in front of the congressional committees in Washington. 5 little minutes. May not make a bit of difference, but I'll tell you what, they would hear me. And most of the time, I don't even need a microphone. God granted me with one big mouth and a good set of lungs, even though I'm a smoker. That's neither here nor there. I know some of you are saying you shouldn't be doing that. Yes, I know. But if that's the worst I'm doing at this point, then God bless me.